9.5 weeks post hernia surgery, and I'm 3.5 weeks from the Boston Marathon. Things have been going pretty well. I have had a good 3 weeks of training, and I'm running close to 70 miles a week or so. This week's going to be closer to 80 because I'm going to get 7 runs in, and I've got my longest run this weekend of 23 miles. So just gradually been getting stronger. As far as the hernia goes itself, I can still feel a little bit of something in that area, but it's there's no hernia there. More of just like a little bit of light swelling still in the hernia area where they put the mesh over it, close to in the pubic region. So it's just a little bit of discomfort every now and then. But as far as everyday training, everyday life, I feel definitely better. I think the hernia has been holding me back over the last 3.5 years since the car accident, that caused the hernia about 3.5 years ago. A couple races. I've ran a half marathon in Fort Myers that I ended up somehow winning, several weeks ago, and that went pretty well. 121.30 is what my overall time was, I believe. And then last Saturday at the Sam Costa half marathon, I ran right around 116, which is crazy because I didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. It was almost just a marathon pace run for Boston, just a little bit faster than marathon pace in my head. So it felt really smooth, really comfortable, and I averaged 5:45 a mile for 13.1 miles. So official time was a little over 116, but it seemed like the course was a little bit longer. So 1:15:30 range was the time on my watch, but it doesn't matter. I felt great. It felt good to compete and good to sit in with 3 or 4 other runners and help them work on their race and their goals, and everything went pretty well. I did try on a new pair of the Puma Nitros for that race. Only the second time I ever put them on because I ran a 4-mile tempo in them during my long run the weekend prior. And these things are awesome. Super light. Everybody's wearing them now in marathoning. Supposedly they give an extra 4% above the 4% like Nike type. So I don't know, 8% advantage over non-super shoes. I don't know, but these were great. I felt great in them. I'm giving them the green light for Boston, and I ran the half marathon in them on Saturday, and no soreness at all the next day. I was actually able to run the next day a couple miles without a problem. Normally I take the day off after a race or after a long run, but I ended up running a few miles and I felt good. So I've got 3.5 weeks till Boston. I think my goals have changed a little bit. Before this 116 half marathon I did last weekend, I was gonna go into Boston saying a goal would be around 244, 245 for the marathon, but I think I'm gonna change it to my A plus goal being 239.30 or so, just breaking 240, and the range being anywhere from 239 to 243 would be like a B day for me. Anything above 243 at this point, after how I felt and ran on last Saturday, I'm gonna say it won't be a great day for me. I feel pretty confident, but I just want to have a good time. I don't want to go in and overthink it. I don't want to blow up or anything. I just want to have a good day in Boston and spend time with my family, spend time with my son that goes to Berkeley in Boston, and just come out of it with a positive race. It could be my last real road marathon I'll do. I want to switch it to the trails from here on out and do some through hiking and some trail races coming up. And we'll talk about that later. But right now I want to take you through what I did in 2024 when I was turning 50. I ran 12 marathons in 12 months. So basically every single month I ran a marathon. And I picked 12 marathons throughout the United States, and some of them fast, some of them, you know, like trail marathons and slower marathons. But I just wanted to do something at 50 that most people can't have a chance to do, and something that I'd always remember. And none of the races could I go to the well and run all out in, because I needed to, you know, 3 weeks later I had to run another race. One time it was 2 weeks later I had to run another race, so I can never go all out. Towards the end, as I'll tell you here in a little bit, I started running a little bit faster and a little bit faster. But I started out in January 2024 with the Sarasota Marathon in Florida. It wasn't the greatest races. It was super hot. They barely had any water. And I got 3rd overall in that in January. And then 4 weeks later, I went to St. Petersburg, and completely the opposite experience. I felt incredible. It was a great race, very well organized. If you ever have a chance to run the St. Petersburg Marathon, I would do it. I got 2nd overall. I caught the second place guy with about 400 meters to go in front of the crowd, which was pretty cool. And my mom got to watch me pass him and get 2nd overall in the race. And that was just a couple months before my 50th birthday. In March, then I went to Chattanooga, which is a very hilly marathon. I had a great time, great experience. I stayed in the hotel right about a half mile from the race, and just decided as the race started to join the 3-hour pace group. We cruised together for about 22 miles, about 5 of us with the 3-hour pacer, just talking and chatting and having a good time. And I feel I helped a couple guys break 3 hours for the first time, and I felt good with it. Over the last about 3 or 4 miles, I took off and I ran about 2:57. So I put a couple minutes on those guys at the end. I think I was like 14th or 15th overall in the race. But Chattanooga Marathon, a very good marathon if you ever want to try it out. It's not super fast, but it was fun. April, I did the Carmel Marathon, which is basically our hometown marathon, 20 minutes from my house. And I kind of went for it a little bit. I thought I'd run like 2:45 or so, and I just didn't have enough recovery from Chattanooga. I blew up a little bit, and I think I ran 2:50, like flat, 2:50 right on the dot. But it was still a fun day. I found myself in no man's land with about 10K to go, and I drastically slowed down. So then May was Cleveland, and I decided at the last minute I actually registered the day before the Cleveland Marathon. It was on a Sunday. I was supposed to do a trail marathon down in like Brown County, Indiana on the day before this, and it was flooded. It was raining for like several days, so I quickly figured out a way to get into the Cleveland Marathon, and it was great. From the get-go, I found myself running right next to Harvey Lewis, who at the time was the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest run ever, which was like 450 miles or something in one of the backyard races that he won. He's a pretty famous ultra marathon runner. We chatted for about 16 miles. I helped kind of pull him along. He was just trying to break 3 hours, but I felt pretty good, and I took off like the last 10 miles, and I ran like 2:54, I believe, or so. But Cleveland, hilly, but pretty fun, well-organized race. I would suggest to do it if you ever have a shot at doing it. From there, I kind of had an idea of flipping around, and I went to Leadville, Colorado. Race starts at 10,100 feet. Leadville, famous for their Leadville 100, but they have a Leadville Marathon. And I ran the Leadville Marathon. I didn't do that great. I fell really hard, and took a big fall and was bleeding a lot. And then at the awards ceremony, I got put into a lottery system, and I won entry into the Leadville 100-mile race, which was 7 weeks later. And I decided this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because it's hard to get into the Leadville Marathon or the Leadville 100. So I decided to do it, and I flipped all my training around to focusing on doing a 100-mile race, probably the most famous 100-mile race, if you've ever read some of the books about it. So I had already scheduled myself for a family vacation to go to San Francisco, and in July we went out to San Francisco, and I ran the San Francisco Marathon, which once again I thought, okay, I'm gonna easily break 3 hours and I'll just sit with the 3-hour guy, you know, like pacer. But we hit some major hills. If you don't want hills, don't run the San Francisco Marathon, because it's crazy hilly, like 2,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. Straight up, straight down. If you've seen the movies of the car chases, it's for real. Logistics and stuff were kind of screwy too, so I would not suggest the San Francisco Marathon. The next month was the Leadville 100-mile race, the greatest experiences of my life. I flew my buddy John Poirier out with me, and then my son Skylar, my middle child, goes to school in Colorado, and they were my two crew members / pacers. So John, at mile 66, after I went up over Hope Pass twice on the Colorado Trail, and you turn around, you come back, I picked up John at Twin Lakes aid station, and he ran with me for 13 miles into the dark. And then I picked up Skylar, my son, for the last 23 miles, and my son and I ran together all night, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, and I'll never forget it. I was out there for 25, almost 25 hours, or maybe it was over 25 hours actually, but I finished without much training the Leadville 100-mile race. Not many people can say that, and got the belt buckle to prove it. And I fell in love with the Colorado Trail, and I'll talk about this more in a month or two, but I might do some stuff on the Colorado Trail this summer. After that was, I had already been talking about doing, going after the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest marathon running with a large pizza. I'm in the pizza business. I own a couple pizzerias, and at the mill race in Indiana, I broke the Guinness Book of World Record for the fastest marathon running with a pizza. And that was an experience, and I felt awful because coming off of Leadville, 5 weeks after Leadville and running this, carrying a large pizza, and it was raining the whole time. It was brutal, and I ran 3 hours and 14 minutes, which is pi, 3.14, which is kind of funny. And I broke the Guinness Book of World Records doing it, so that was very fun. After that, I finally felt recovered enough the next month, and I felt great in the Columbus, Ohio Marathon. And what a great race they put on, I tell you. The entertainment at the beginning, the first mile, they're shooting fireworks off. The aid stations, the entertainment, the music on the course, great competition. I ran with a good group of people the whole way, made some friends, and I ran, I think I was 2:55 in this race, so that was a great time. The month after that was our hometown race in Indianapolis, the Monumental Marathon, and I went into the Monumental Marathon with the same effort as most of these, and I ended up running 2:48, running the same effort as all the rest of the flatter races. So I think finally, after 11 months of all this training and racing and marathoning, I finally started feeling pretty good. So 2:48 with no effort, and at my hometown race in Indianapolis, Monumental Marathon. And then, I went into 4 weeks later, I didn't feel great over the next 4 weeks in training, but I ran the Rocket City Marathon, and I went 2:46, my fastest marathon of the 12 marathons in 12 months. 2:46 at the Rocket City Marathon, won my age group. I think I was 14th overall. And it wrapped up an incredible year of marathoning that seemed to go by in a blink of an eye. I couldn't believe how fast it went and how much support I had from my family and friends and my teammates. I'll never forget it. And I'm so lucky to be able to do it. I'm so happy that I was able to complete it injury-free, especially after the accident. Yeah, the accident's held me back. I can't run super fast anymore. I can't run fast, but I can run far. And I can take, I can take some pain over the course of a 3-hour marathon as far as hernia goes or back problems go. I just can't run fast in a 5K or, and anything shorter distance. So I've got one marathon to go, and that's in 3.5 weeks, and that's at Boston. And hopefully it goes well, and I'll hopefully update you with some great news after that.